Hey lovelies, thanks for stopping by my channel for today's BYOP. I am really excited to share with you the palette that I've created for this month. If you are new to this series, my friend Kara from Beauty and the Frizz and I started this almost 2 years ago now. Next month is gonna be our 2-year anniversary. And we really did this to get more use out of our single shadows, really be able to celebrate all of the pretty little pans that we have rather than just receiving them, swatching them, oohing and awing, putting them in a palette, and then letting them go sit in a dark corner somewhere. And so this month we are doing a palette centered around a mood or emotion. So the entire palette is themed around one mood or emotion. And I did check in with Kara. I was wibble wobbling between a couple different things, and I checked in with Kara like, what are you doing? I still haven't decided. And I'm glad I checked in because I was actually going to do the same one as her. So I cannot wait. I cannot wait to see what she's doing. So please make sure after you watch this video that you check hers out as well. I will have her video linked down below along with any other creators that I know that are doing this month. And also, if you ever want to jump in, you want to create a palette, whether you are a content creator or not, please feel free to join in. If you would like to share with us, you can always tag Kara and myself on Instagram, and that way we can share it with our fellow shadow lovers as well. I am really so happy that so many of you have seemed to enjoy this BYOP series. You know, Kara and I have talked about it, and I think that it's just really kind of created a fun little community where we encourage each other to use the makeup that we have. All right, we're gonna get into this, but if we haven't met before, my name is Kelly, and I'm a professional hair and makeup artist, and here on my channel I strive to keep beauty real. Real honest, real relatable, and real fun. So if that sounds like something you'd enjoy, don't forget to click subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos as the sirens are going. So speaking of subscribing, make sure you are subscribed for next month because we have a really fun idea in store for all of you to celebrate our 2-year anniversary. And yes, we're gonna have a little background noise because it is simply gorgeous out. Today and yesterday have been the most gorgeous weather, and honestly, if I have to be inside filming, I want to do it with the windows open and fresh air and the birds and all the things. So I hope that you will grant me that. All right, we're gonna dive in. So like I said, we are creating a palette around a mood or emotion. And this idea was actually suggested by a viewer, and I thought it was such a fun one because, you know, really when we think about color and what it represents, or even just, you know, memories that might be evoked by certain colors, I think that it is really such a powerful thing. So I'm excited to get to kind of play around with that today. So you've probably already seen in the thumbnail of this video that my emotion is gratitude. And I was sort of flip-flopping between a few, and I really wanted to take time to reflect and encourage myself to practice this emotion more often, but also really just take a moment to celebrate the things that I am grateful for in life. And I think that, you know, right now there are a lot of difficulties in the world, and this isn't to like negate those difficulties at all. It's almost more to like balance out and try to, you know, light a candle in a dark room, I guess, is what I'm going for here. And even when I just open up this palette and look at the shadows inside, I just feel more centered even. And, you know, for me, the practice of gratitude really helps with that. You know, I think that comparison can be the thief of joy, whether you are comparing yourself to someone else, whether you're comparing your current self to your previous self, whether you are comparing the world you're in to the world you wish you were in, or, you know, it could be so many different things. I think that just taking a moment to be grateful and celebrate some of the things that you do have in life can really be very helpful to offset that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at these shadows. So if you are new to this series, by the way, literally the only rule that we have ever had is that we use 10 shadows. So I have 10 shadows for you here. So you can see my little palette. And as I have said so many times before, this went in a very different direction than I had originally thought it would. I think that, you know, there is a difference between gratitude and happiness, but gratitude can create happiness. Wow, we haven't even swatched any shadows yet, and I'm starting to get rambly. This will be an interesting one. But when I started going through and I was like, oh, you know, when I thought about some of the shades that I was going to include, they just didn't resonate when I started going through in, you know, in a mindset of gratitude. And I think that there just is a little bit of a different vibe. I don't know how to explain it, but it totally went in a different direction. Now, the only thing that did sort of nudge me in one direction a little bit, I did look up what the typical themed color would be for gratitude, and most sites said pink is known as the color of gratitude. So I did want to make sure to have a little bit of pink energy in this palette, if you will, but also other things that represent gratitude to me. So we, of course, are going to be swatching all of these. I had thought about doing 2 looks. In all honesty, I think today I'm just going to do 1. I do have some other things planned for my day, and yesterday I wore 2 eye looks. I wore one during the day to work, and then I washed all that off, did my live in the evening, and my eyes were just a little irritated, and the air quality here is not great, which also isn't helping with that. So I'm just gonna be kind to my eyes, so I hope that you're okay with that, but we will do 1 look. And of course, I will probably keep this out and play with it a little bit. So if you do wanna see more looks with this palette, make sure you're following me on Instagram. So of course, I'm gonna give you arm swatches of all of these shades. I'll have them listed in the description box as well. If any of them, you know, kind of tickle your fancy. I'm gonna talk a little bit about gratitude in my life, what I'm striving to do, maybe what I am grateful for. And then of course, we will be doing that eye look together. So I am, speaking of gratitude, I am very grateful to have you here with me today. So I hope that you do enjoy this video. Let's get into it right now. All right, by the way, in case you couldn't see it, I have my J'adore coffee shirt on because I am grateful for coffee. I know that is like on the very trivial side of things, but sometimes it is those trivial things that just get you through, right? So I wanted to wear this one. I think it'll also go really well with this color story. So now that we're up close, nice and tight together, here again is a look at this palette. I am going to turn down my center light here just a little bit so that these can be a bit more true perhaps. Oh my gosh, I didn't even anticipate having like matching nails, but they do kind of go well. So we're gonna get into these swatches, and the first shade that I chose out is the first shade in the palette. This is one partially that I chose out because I was looking to include some of that pink into the palette, as that was sort of known as like the general color of gratitude. So this was the first one I picked out, but it also just gives me the energy of gratitude. And this is one that I actually haven't used a lot of recently. I do really like it, but it's one that, because it's an iridescent multi-chrome, I think that sometimes, you know, you really have to take the time. Every single time I go to like put an iridescent on my inner corner or something, I always do finger swatches, and then I'm like, oh, that isn't quite what I expected. Okay, we're gonna move on to another. So sometimes it just takes a little time. And I think that, you know, to me, this represents taking that time to appreciate what is in your life. You know, like I said, I think that gratitude, sometimes we just are on the go and go, 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 and we're like on the machine, right? And we just have to take a moment to really look at what we have and appreciate that. And I think that that's one of the things that this color represents to me. So this is Aylin from Devinah Cosmetics. Again, you're probably not gonna see the magic of it until we swatch it, but it does have this beautiful pink shift to it. I'm going to show you a little finger swatch here. So Aylin is really this color that goes from pink to green into like a yellow. So you really do have almost like a little, I'm not going to go as far as saying a rainbow, but you have quite, you know, a variety of shades in this, and it's just so pretty. And this is from the Halo Moons collection. It is one of these smoother shades. There are a couple shades in this collection that are more flaky, but this is one of the you know, really like kind of buttery, smoother shades. So you can even see right here, like that beautiful shift that you get. So it's very lovely. I will of course make sure to pick it up in the up close swatches, but I mean, again, now that that is like smoothed out on my finger, just look how beautiful that is. And you really do, like, even because you can see my nail polish, it kind of picks up almost on some of that like green teal as well. It's very, very pretty. I really enjoy this one. So that was the first one. And I mean, I just think it, again, it's taking the time to really appreciate what we have. And when I say what we have, I don't necessarily mean like the physical things we have, you know, like possessions. It could be that as well. I mean, that definitely is something to be grateful for, but it's really just like, you know, like for instance, for myself, I am grateful to have a career that I've shaped for myself. And truly, I can, to a point, I can choose when to work and when not to work, right? Like today is Tuesday. Tuesday is usually my day off. I did choose to go in this morning for someone though, so I didn't have the entire day off. But you know, like I have that flexibility in my life and in my career. It also means that there are times in my career where I'm just going gangbusters because that's just sort of industry standard. But, you know, so that is not something that everyone has. And I'm grateful to have that. And I'm grateful to have been given that opportunity by my clients. And I'm grateful to have been able to work in this industry for, it's going to be 24 years this summer, and just have really built that life for myself. So that's what I have, right? And I'm sure you all have things that you know, you can really be grateful for as well. So anyway, that is Aylin from Devinah. By the way, this one was sent to me by Devinah Cosmetics. Yes, I do want to make note if I ever have products that I was sent in PR. So I do want to let you know I was sent this one in PR. Of course, I have a lot of Devinah that I purchased myself. I think this one is actually code eligible. So you can use my code KEEPBEAUTYREAL if you ever want to save on the Devinah website on eligible items. So we're just going to get that one right out of the way. I am grateful to Devinah Cosmetics for sending me such beautiful, pretty things. So let's get into this next one. Now, this shade. So I did pick this one up originally because of the actual shade. I'm going to show it here as I'm like yammering on. So I did actually pick it up because of the color of it, but also the name of it really, I think, suits this theme and the brand itself. So this is The Greatest Gift, and this is from Sydney Grace. This is a very well-known shade. And the thing about this, like I said, the color, I think just really, you know, leans into, again, it's just, oh, this shade is just so pretty. I mean, this shade, again, has a little bit of magic to it that I don't think you necessarily appreciate until you take the time to, you know, really swatch it. But for me, as far as like gratitude in the world of beauty and makeup, I am so grateful to have found Sydney Grace because, oh, I don't know if you're even going to be able to see that yet. Like the magic of these shades, so, so pretty. But anyway, Sydney Grace, when I found the brand, I had sort of, maybe it's like a slippery slope here, maybe they were my gateway drug, but I had sort of gotten out of buying single shadows. And, you know, for me, Makeup Geek was like the brand. It was the brand that did single eyeshadows. I mean, I really think that it was MAC that brought single shadows onto the market, but when I started really diving into it, it was Makeup Geek that really intrigued me. And I had so much fun picking out shades that I knew that I would really love using, you know, creating my little palette. Of course, at that time, it was like, I maybe had 25 shades. I don't know. And I thought that even that was like a lot. But I really enjoyed it, and I sort of got out of it for a while, and I think it was Jen Loves who had been talking about the Sydney Grace cream shadows, and so I went onto the site and I just was like, wow, there is so much here. And so this brand is really what sort of pulled me back into the world of single shadows. And of course, since then I found so many beautiful indie makeup brands that have had such lovely shadows, and so, you know, I'm really grateful for that because it has brought me a lot of joy. It's also brought me a lot of purchases. But it has brought me a lot of joy. So I am very grateful for that. So again, this is The Greatest Gift, a well-known one from Sydney Grace. And I do think, you know, for them, I know that now the brand has started doing some multi-chromes. I'm putting up air quotes like they're not multi-chromes, but some of them I think are more like duochrome type shades. They're on the softer side of things. They're definitely in the, I guess I would say, aesthetic of Sydney Grace, but I have not tried any of those yet. You know, Christmas and July sale is coming. I might be. But I do think that this is definitely a unique shade for them, and I really enjoyed that one. Okay, a pink shade to suit the theme. This is Pink Sugar from Clionadh Cosmetics, and obviously this is their round pan shadow. I think that these shadows are just so pretty. There are some really magical ones within this lineup, and I do want to do a deeper dive into what they have. I know when I was looking to get a few of these round pans, I was a little bit overwhelmed because it was like, oh my gosh, there are quite a few. I don't know which ones to get. And I just ended up going with 2 of the bundles that they were offering at the time. And I'm glad that I did. I mean, I definitely got ones that I enjoyed. I might have gotten 1 or 2 like single stock ones, but it was nice to have those bundles there. So these are really nice. And this color, oh, finger swatch. And this color right here, it's this one. So that is Pink Sugar. I feel like right now on my skin, it's not showing up quite as well. It's like kind of hard to see. You can see it right there. It is like a warm pink. So it's not like an icy pink. It definitely has a bit of a peachy feel to it, but it still does definitely lean in pink. I really like that warmer pink. To me, it just like lays a little softer on my skin just because of my skin tone, and this is such a beautiful one, so I had to throw it in here. I think, like I said, the round pans, the circle pans, whatever they're calling them, the circle shadows, maybe that's what they call them. At any rate, the non-stained glass ones, they really get overlooked, so I'm excited to share this one with you today. All right, moving into this next shade. This is actually, the next 2 of these are new to me shades from Pretties for Your Face. They're not new, but they are new to me, and this first one is Hobgoblin. Again, this is from Pretties for Your Face. So this shade is just, it's so pretty, and there's something, you know, in that little shift that it has that it just makes my heart really happy. And this is almost like it represents light to me, and that is something that, you know, I am grateful for light-hearted moments in life. I'm grateful for laughter. I will say, I think that that is something that has really gotten me through some difficult times, is just being able to be thankful for the times that you get with, you know, people that you can just really have a good time with. And that could be in very simple moments, right? I mean, I can't tell you how many times, you know, Jeremy and I have had a lot of difficulties in our life, but I can't tell you how many times we have been laying in bed. It's usually when we're laying in bed, when we're trying to get to sleep, and somebody just either says something funny or one of us gets a giggle fit. It's usually me, and we just like are like laughing, and there is something that is so soothing to the soul about that. And I am very grateful for those moments because they're definitely needed, and they really like recharge my soul. So here you can see the shade. By the way, I did I changed the focus on my camera, so hopefully we're gonna get a better look at these shades now, because I feel like now you can really see Pink Sugar a little bit better. So sorry about that before, but this is coming out to be a very, I would say, springtime palette. But I think also in the summertime, it's nice to just have those like whisk them on shades and like easy peasy, you know, kind of breezy kind of shades. And that's what this is. Okay. So this next shade is another Pretties for Your Face, as I'd mentioned. And this one is just so unique. This is Eye of Newt. And I love this sort of, it is like this beautiful yet putrid shade. It has this like grungy green gold, slightly mustardy kind of vibe. I don't know how to explain it, but there's just something about this. It's the softness in this. There's just something about the shade that makes me so happy. And you know, it's like a color that always makes me happy when I see this in nature, because that like almost yellowy green, but like kind of earthy, it just always catches my eye. Like Jeremy and I, we went to the botanical gardens this last weekend, and let me tell you, just so beautiful, especially being someone who could probably like melt plastic plants. I just give it to people who can really make beautiful gardens. But there's something to that sort of like funky green yellow that just always makes me happy. And I really do enjoy, you know, time outside, time in the fresh air, time in the sunshine, and time around like all the green pretty things. And this is a shade that just always reminds me of that, and it makes me really happy. Don't get me wrong though, I am a girl who enjoys her air conditioning. I do not love it when the dew point is very high. Humidity and I do not get along. You know, my hair, it starts just getting so big. I don't love that. I get sweaty. I don't enjoy being sweaty, so I do enjoy my inside time as well. Definitely. But I think that, you know, having the time to spend outside just makes me so grateful. And anytime I do it, it just like calms my soul a little bit. So I'm just always very grateful to have the times that I've had. And honestly, like some of the best times that I've had with Jeremy, he's really brought me out of my shell as far as like being in nature. I know that, it was probably like the first year we were dating, and I think it was Easter Day, and we had gone to my parents, and then we were going hiking. And my mom was like, "You're going hiking?" And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, it's not like a crazy hike, but yeah, we're gonna go for a hike." She's like, "You must really like this guy." At any rate, should we talk about some makeup? Okay, so let's move into this next shade. This one is honestly just really fun and really matches the theme very beautifully. This is Dragonfly, and this is from the Pastel Roses UK. And this shade is from my most recent Pastel Roses purchase. I have to say, can I just say, when I pulled out my palette, there was like a bubble. There was like a little bubble here, and I pressed it, and it was like all oil. And, you know, some of the like shadow flakes came off on my hand. So it was like very oily, and flaky shadows came off. So I tried to like pop it back in really well. So that's why it's got this little lump at the middle of the pan. I was like, oh, okay, some of those binding agents must have like collected or something. I don't know. I love this shade. The texture of it though is kind of that flaky feel that I'm going to want to like work onto the skin, because I don't love that flaky texture, but it is worth the color. And this, you know, this really just, because it is so electric and vibrant, I think it's, you know, really about finding those things in life that shine. And, you know, that really is what gratitude is all about, whether it's a person or, you know, like I said, something that you have that, you know that we can all, oh, look at that. Let's just take a moment here. A moment of silence to be grateful for having Dragonfly. Anyway, you know, whether it's a person or it's a moment, it's a memory in your life that you can, you know, really just take that time to be like, wow, that was amazing. That made my heart happy. That made my soul energized, whatever it is, you know, we've all got them. And I think that it's, you know, time to like recognize those things. So now our next shade is another Sydney Grace shade, and this is Time to Celebrate. And I thought that that was another great name for a shade in this Gratitude palette. This is really, you know, I mean, it's a basic sort of like warm neutral mauve. I do have several mauvey shades from Sydney Grace, and I was looking to pull one out that isn't too like pink with a capital P. This is more of like a warm mauve, and it does have a bit of neutral tone in it. I only have 4 mattes in this palette, so I wanted it to be, you know, something that would work with a lot of different things and with different skin tones. This is, yes, it's on the mauvey side, but it's not so pink that if you have really warm skin, it's gonna look odd, but it also isn't so warm that it would look odd on cooler toned skin. So I love this one. And, you know, again, that time to celebrate what we're grateful for in life. So this next one is from Makeup Geek, and this is Peach Smoothie. And this was such a cult classic shade. I mean, it's so pretty. I had to put, I mean, this shade itself is just really in here to make for a really beautiful, easy palette. You could put this in the crease. You could put, well, for me, if you're darker skin tone than me, you might want to pick out something that's a little deeper. But for me, this is a quick, like, pop it through the crease and then sweep any other shade in this palette over my lid, and I'm good to go. It's just a very quick look. But like I said, Makeup Geek was the brand that really got my heart going again for single shadow. So I'm grateful for that. And, you know, I thought Marlena did a great job in the beauty community, just, you know, really trying to educate people, trying to, you know, have a beautiful product that was priced really well. And, you know, I think most of us were sad to see that brand go, but I'm excited to see what Marlena has up her sleeve. So here you can see, I mean, obviously I'm in my like summer state, so I'm getting fairly tan, but this really is just a beautiful, like, very light, easy crease shade for me, and I do love it. So now let's move into this. There's something about this color. If I were to think about gratitude, there's something about this shade that would link that for me, but there's also something in the shade that makes me think serenity, which is another thing that I'm striving for in life. Maybe I'm wanting to practice gratitude so that I have more serenity. It's funny though, because this shade is actually called Envy, and I featured this before in palettes here. This is a Devinah Cosmetics matte shade, and it's just so beautiful. I just love this. This is like the kind of shade, the kind of like green. It's sort of that like dusty jade that I think is so beautiful. I think this really looks nice on just about everybody. So again, this is Envy. We'll give a beautiful, let's get a swatch of this pretty color. So look at that. I mean, there is just something about this shade that is both vibrant and slightly grungy. Like there's like a bit of a, there's just a bit of a feel to it that it isn't like, you know, Crayola, but it does have some beautiful vibrancy to it. I love this one. Again, that's Envy. Love it, love it. This last one is a shade that I recently got, and this is a brand that I found this last year. This is from Dandelions Co., and this is Dirty Martini. I mean, look at that shade. It's that yummy, like grungy olive, but it has a beautiful amount of brightness to it. Very pretty. So I thought that this just really went nicely into this palette. I thought that this was a great shade to have in here because while Envy is a little bit more, you know, leaning, dipping into the blue side of green, this is definitely, you know, obviously more in that like almost like chartreuse side of green with a little bit of yellow to it. These Dandelions mattes are very, very powdery, but they do build up beautifully on the eye. So that is my little palette. This is my little gratitude set of shadows. I'm gonna go ahead and zoom in so you can see all these shades up really close, and then we'll get into the eye look. All right, here is a little lower light look at these shades just so you can see some of that shift coming through on those multi-chromes. Beautiful. Like you can see this one, I mean, Aylin looks really soft as opposed to like a banger like Dragonfly, but it just has such beautiful nuance. You can even see that little bit of reflect that comes up in the Sydney Grace shade. So pretty. So I will, of course, have these all down below in order of swatching in case you want to see them further. And here they are with more light so that you can see them in their majesty. So pretty. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that swatch party and that little ramble. I know that I always enjoy just getting to like tell you all my thoughts. So now, where am I gonna go with this? I mean, you know I love a good pink and green moment, so we're definitely gonna have to do a little combo here, but there are just so many ways that I could go with this one, and it's probably gonna be pretty simple. Honestly, I think that that's just like, that's part of the whole vibe for me. Like if I had a gratitude palette, you know, most of the looks are going to be fairly easy and quick. It's not gonna be like a, you know, crazy eyeshadow look. You'll also notice, I meant to say this, but you'll also notice I don't have really deep shadows in here, and for me it just didn't go with like what my heart was saying in this, so I didn't pick out anything really deep. That Envy is the darkest shade that I have, but I can build that up pretty nicely if I wanted to, if I wanted to get a little bit more contrast. But today I'm just feeling kind of like light ethereal vibes, so I think we're gonna go with that. So I will probably just put on some music and you can hang out for the little makeup application, and we will round it out at the end, and I will let you know the theme for next month. Here we have the final look. I have to say I really like this. Like this might be my favorite eye look I've done in a while. It probably shouldn't be a surprise because I do love a good pink and green combo, but there's just something about this that is just, it's colorful yet blendy, subtle, colorful subtle. I don't know if that's a thing. I just really like this. And I used a pretty good amount of the shades. I have 1, 2, 3 on my lid and inner corner, 4 on the bottom, and then I used 5, 6, 7. So 7 out of the 10. That's actually not too bad. Not too bad at all. You'll have to let me know what you think of this look and what you think of this little color story. I do really like this. And I say this every time, but this was one when I first put it together, I was like, I don't know if I'll like use this a ton this summer, but I'm like, you know what? I think I would use it this summer. So I'm actually going to keep it out here with my other palettes in my Shop My Stash. You know what's so funny is I have this one, and I actually still have out last month's palette. Where is that one? Here. This one here. And then I always have out my companion palette that I built. So I have 3 of my own little BYOPs right here, all from this series. If you want to check any of those out, the details on them, I'll make sure to have those linked down below. But they're gonna sit out here, and I truly do. I have been reaching for them quite a bit. So I'm really enjoying, like I said, doing this series really truly does make me use the makeup that I have. So why don't we talk about what we're gonna be doing next month? I just wanted to give you an up close look on this. You know what we should do before I zoom out is we should do a lip color. Oh, I did also want to say, speaking of, because I was talking about like shopping my stash, this is in my waterline. This is Teaspoon from ColourPop, and I just popped a little bit in there. So other than that, that's all I really did. If you did notice, by the way, I had makeup on already because I worked in the morning, and I just didn't put eyeshadow on before I went to work. I was like, it's fine. I don't need eyeshadow. I'll just have like a lip gloss on and some blush, and we'll be fine and good to go. I don't know how people do it. I do not know how people who have lash extensions do their eyeshadow really well. Like it was hard to kind of work around that. So I just threw an extra coat of mascara on over what I had previously today and then popped this in my waterline. So let's go ahead and grab a lip color. I don't know if I have anything out in my Shop My Stash that I want to throw on though, because I just want something really nice and easy. Let's see what we've got. Do we have something in our drawer of shame over here that we could maybe use? Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna pull this one out. This is Fenty Fussy. So this is really actually more of my drawer of I'm gonna grab this and use it all the time kind of thing. So we'll just pop this on. I think this goes good. I just want something hydrating, glossy. Yeah, goes with the gratitude vibe, I think. All right, let's talk about next month. I'm gonna zoom out real quick. Can't wait to share with you. All right, lovelies, thank you so much for hanging out with me for today's Build Your Own palette. You'll have to let me know what you think of the look. So this gives me a little bit of like Hella vibes, but better, because this lid shade I like better than the one that's kind of similar in the palette. I think you get a little bit more depth out of that more like aqua color. I really like this. I really like this a lot. And I hope that you liked getting to hear about my inspiration for this palette. Like I said, I can't wait to see Kara's, and I'm really excited to see the other creators that are doing this challenge. I will have everybody linked down below, so please don't forget to check them out as well. So for next month, I really cannot believe it has been almost 2 years of us doing this series every single month, steadily. Sometimes hurriedly, but always steadily. Anyway, so for next month, we wanted to do something special, and our friend Lock Maiden had a great idea, and it was to do a mystery palette. So to have someone else pick out 10 shades for you. So that is exactly what we're gonna do. Each of us, anyone who joins in on this series, is going to have someone else in their life pick out 10 shades to create a palette, and you don't get to peek at it until you start filming. So, or if you're a creator, or you could have someone do it and then don't take a peek at it until they obviously hand it to you and you can create a look with it or whatever. So I'm really excited to do this one. I haven't decided, you know, obviously I could have Jeremy do it. I think I might do that because I think he might enjoy it. The only hesitation is him really knowing how many single eyeshadows I have. Not that I hide anything from him, but you know, sometimes you just don't know unless you actually like really sit down with all of them. We'll have to see. At any rate, I think it's going to be really fun, so please make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on that one. If you have any questions or if you want to add any ideas, throw one in the hat. We love getting to hear what all of you would like to see in the future. Thank you all so much for taking some time out of your day and spending it with me. I hope you'll take a moment in your life to celebrate and practice gratitude. I know that's going to be something that I'm working on this year. I hope you did enjoy getting to hear a little bit of my thoughts and seeing the palette. That's going to be it for today, and I will see you really soon.